Good afternoon, students. Today we are going to discuss a new topic, that is types of fermenter. Okay, what a fermenter is. By now you must be knowing what a fermenter is. A fermenter can be defined as a closed cylindrical vessel or a tank that supports the biochemical and chemical activities by microorganism required to carry out conversion of raw material into useful product. Okay, so fermenter is nothing but a closed cylindrical vessel which is used for synthesizing a commercially valuable product using microorganisms. Right, what a fermenter should provide: there should be an agitation device required for mixing of microorganisms and the fermentation medium, aeration device, that is sparger, required for oxygen supply. Okay, regulation of various factors like temperature, pH, aeration, pressure, nutrient addition, antifoam agent addition, etc. should be provided. Okay, it should be possible for us to sterilize the tank as well as the medium added to it, and also withdraw the final product from the tank. So all these requirements should be provided in the fermentation tank. Okay, now let us discuss about different types of fermenters that are used for carrying out production of a valuable, commercially important valuable product. Okay, various types of fermenters that are used are batch fermenter, continuous stirred tank fermenter CSTF, airlift fermenter, tower fermenter, fluidized bed fermenter, bubble column fermenter, etc. Right, so let us discuss one by one different types of fermenter. First, let us understand what a batch fermenter is. Now, in the last few classes, we have discussed about configuration and design of a fermenter. So that was basic design of a fermenter. Today, let us understand what a batch fermenter is. What is a batch fermenter? The one which is used to carry out microbial process on a batch basis is called as a batch fermenter. Okay, where the production is done on batch basis. Right. So what a batch fermenter is associated with: development of microorganism, that is inoculum buildup from stock culture to shake flask stage, right? Then followed by inoculation or seeding or pitching of the fermentation medium with the microorganism. Okay, so first there is inoculum buildup, where we multiply or increase the inoculum or broth culture of microorganism. The broth culture of microorganism is added into the production medium, which is called as pitching or seeding, right? And then the last, that is production stage or fermentation proper, right? Wherein the microorganisms utilize the raw materials or nutrients present in the medium and convert the substrate into a product. Okay. Now, if you look at a batch fermenter, it is similar to the one we have discussed earlier. So, let us first discuss one by one the various aspects of a batch fermenter. The size. Batch fermenters are available in various capacities or varying capacities. Depending upon our requirement, we will be using the batch fermenter. The capacity of the tank ranges from few hundred to several thousand gallons. Depending upon the size, the fermenters are available in variety of names, that is small laboratory fermenter having size 1 to 2 liter with maximum up to 12 to 15 liters. Pilot plant fermenters which have a volume of 25 to 100 gallons and which may exceed up to 2000 gallons. Still large fermenters which are used in industries having 5000 to 10,000 gallons capacity and approximately may increase up to 1 lakh gallons. Actually, the operating volume or working volume is always less than the total volume of the tank, because a head space must always be left at the top of the fermenter above the liquid medium to allow space for splashing, foaming and aeration of the liquid. When I say the capacity of a tank is 10 liters, means it is the actual total volume capacity. But 10 liters of medium is not filled into a 10 liter tank. A head space is always provided. The head space may be 1/5 of the fermenter volume or 1/4 of the fermenter volume. The head space is required, okay, because when we mix the liquid, there may be splashing of liquid, there may be foaming, the aeration is done. So that is why a head space is always provided, where head space means that space which is empty. Okay, so the fermenter is filled, say for example 3/4 and 1/4 space may be provided, left as it is as head space. Okay. So if you look at a batch fermenter, you can see that there is a motor at the top. Okay, this is a motor, right? The motor drives the agitator shaft. This is the rod of the agitator, and these are the impeller blades with the help of which the fermentation medium is mixed, right? Intermittently, when you start the fermentation, the tank is filled with the substrate or the raw material in liquid form. Through the inoculum point, microorganisms are added into the tank, and the whole things are mixed using the stirrer, which is the agitator. In between, when foam is created, foam is formed, anti-foam agents can be added. In order to check the increase or decrease in pH, there is a pH probe which will check whether the pH is proper or not, required to the optimum. If the pH is less or more, with the help of auto titrator, acid or base can be added. Right. When agitator is mixing the whole content, vortex formation takes place, and the vortex may rise to the top of the tank. To avoid vortex formation, the tank is provided with baffle walls, okay, to break the vortex. There is a sampling point from where intermittently we will take out the sample in a small amount and test it whether the product has been formed or not. Okay, then there is an oxygen sensor which will also determine the concentration of oxygen. At the bottom, there is a inlet from where oxygen or air is passed in, which we call as air sparger. Okay, so this is an air sparger through which air is introduced inside it, right? Okay, surrounding the tank there is a cooling jacket. Surrounding the tank there is a cooling jacket, this one, through which cold water can be circulated if the temperature rises. And at the bottom there is a harvest pipe or a harvest line from which, once the fermentation is over, the whole fermented broth needs to be harvested or taken out of the tank, which is collected from the outlet pipe or harvesting line. So this is the basic design of a fermenter. So what we need to know is the size of the tank. There are variety of sizes available, and depending upon our requirement we use it. Then pH control. pH control is achieved by means of adding alkali or acid or alkali addition, which is controlled by an auto titrator, which is in turn connected to a pH probe. So the pH probe measures the pH. If it is less or more, then we can add alkali or acid depending upon our requirement. Temperature control, it can be achieved by circulating cold water through the water jackets that are present outside the tank, or sometimes there are internal coils through which also we can circulate cold water if you want to cool the medium if the temperature rises. Because of metabolic activities of microorganism, because of mixing, the temperature may rise, which needs to be cooled down, and that can be done by circulating cold water through the water jacket present outside, or we can circulate cold water through the internal coils. But sometimes the temperature may decrease also. So if you want to increase the temperature, you can circulate hot water. Okay. Agitation. The agitation is the process of mixing. Mixing is done by a device called as agitator, right? The agitator consists of a strong and straight shaft, that is a rod, to which impellers are fitted. Impeller consists of a circular disc to which blades are fitted with bolts. The shaft or the rod of the agitator passes through the lid of the fermentation tank. There is a bearing through which it passes through the lid, goes inside the tank. Okay. On the outside, a motor is attached and the agitator is rotated, okay, with the help of an electric motor fitted outside the lid of the tank. The agitator helps in uniform mixing of media components, microorganisms, oxygen, etc. When the impeller blades are rotated at a very high speed, the medium is thrown upwards towards the wall of the fermenter, which results in vortex formation. To prevent vortex formation, 4 equally spaced baffles are attached to the walls of the fermenter. So if you look at a batch fermenter that is shown here, okay, so this is a batch fermenter which is a sort of a cylindrical tank. Here the device shown is an agitator or impeller mixing device. Right. As we proceed, as the fermentation proceeds, suppose this is the initial concentration of the substrate or raw material. Right. With time, what will happen? The raw material will be utilized and the raw material will reduce. The quantity of substrate will go on reducing and the quantity of product will go on increasing. Okay. So the concentration of substrate decreases with time. Okay. And the concentration of product, right, concentration of substrate decreases with time and concentration of product rises with time. Okay, this can be seen from the diagram. Right. Aeration. Most of the fermentations are aerobic in nature, so there is a need of constant supply of air. So aerating device is called as a sparger. So aerating device actually consists of a pipe having minute holes through which sterile and pressurized air is bubbled into the aqueous medium. Okay, sterile, usually air is sterilized by filters. Okay, and sterile air is a very costly item, so it has to be used very judiciously. So sterile and pressurized air is bubbled into the aqueous medium present inside the fermenter in the form of tiny air bubbles through a device which is nothing but a pipe which is called as a sparger. The size of the holes in the sparger may range from 1/64th to 1/32th of an inch or maybe slightly larger. There are various ways by which we can introduce air into the fermentation vessel. What are the different modes of injecting air into the vessel? Impeller air injection. When we use impeller air injection, there is no need of sparger. The rod or the shaft of the agitator is hollow and there are holes in the blade. So through the rod of the agitator, air is passed in and it escapes out through the holes in the impeller blade. There may be two-phase injection. There may be airlift fermentation injection where we will be studying this in airlift fermenter and sparger air injection. So most of the time air is injected inside the vessel with the help of a sparger. Okay, it is nothing but a rod having holes. It may be a ring sparger where it is not a rod, it is like a ring having holes. The holes or orifices of the sparger may be facing upwards and the air bubbles are, air is bubbled in the upward direction. Sometimes when we are working with fungi, the mycelium of the fungi may block the pores. In that case, the orifices or holes of the sparger are facing downwards. Okay. Now, it's a universal practice to introduce air inside the vessel through a sparger which is placed underside to the impeller. Okay, which is placed underside to the impeller. It may be a single jet sparger having only one hole or a multi-jet sparger or it may be a porous sparger. Okay. Now, what another important aspect while using a fermenter is time. The time required for batch fermentation varies from hours to weeks depending upon conversion being attended and conditions used. Okay. So, the time required for a complete fermentation may vary from hours to weeks depending upon the process, depending upon how easily or how rapidly a microorganism converts the substrate into product. And throughout the duration or throughout the course or time of fermentation, we have to check the contamination. Contamination should be avoided. The vessel content should be agitated. Temperature and pH should be properly controlled so as to get a high yield of the desired product. Right. Say for example, penicillin production, activated sludge process in wastewater treatment are the examples of batch fermentation. Okay. So a batch fermentation, a fermenter is that device which carries out production of the desired product in batches where we have to check control temperature, pH, aeration, agitation, time required is properly given. Okay, and all these factors, if properly controlled, will give a high yield of the product. The next type of fermenters are continuous stirred tank fermenters, CSTF. They are also called as continuous stirred tank reactors or stirred tank reactors simply. Right. What is the difference between a batch and a continuous fermenter? In a batch fermenter, products are obtained in batches. Continuous fermenters are designed in such a way that there is continuous addition of nutrients or raw materials from one side, and from the other side there is continuous or intermittent collection or removal of product. So the process is continuous. Addition of nutrients and withdrawal of product is a continuous process. So the name continuous fermenter. Now CSTF is basically similar to batch fermentation, except that the feed and overflow devices are a bit different. Okay. So continuous stirred tank fermenter and batch fermenter are actually similar in design. Only the feed and overflow devices are a bit different. Okay. The fundamental difference lies in the fact that contents of the vessel, contents of the fermenter in continuous stirred tank fermenter are in steady state. Okay. The microorganisms are present in steady state, that is logarithmic growth phase. The contents of the vessel do not vary with time. Okay, in batch fermentation, the contents vary with time. There is no steady state, right? So, when we are saying that the contents of vessel are in steady state, the contents do not vary with time, then there is a necessity that to hold up the organisms and media components. Okay. So, holding the media components and microorganisms in a steady state is achieved by using chemostat or turbidostat principle. Okay. So, the steady state conditions can be achieved by using a chemostat or a turbidostat. Chemostat involves adjusting the flow rate into the fermenter to an appropriate and constant value and allowing the microorganism, substrate and biochemical product concentration to attain their natural levels. So we adjust the inflow into the fermenter to a constant and appropriate volume, right? Whereas a turbidostat requires an experimental determination of turbidity. This is then used to control the flow rate. Okay. So turbidostat measures the turbidity, that is microbial concentration, and chemostat controls the flow rate into the fermenter. Right. So by using a chemostat or a turbidostat, we can achieve steady state condition or hold up the nutrient medium and microorganisms. Continuous fermentations can be carried out in 3 different ways. Okay. So here you can see we have shown 3 different tanks, right? And process is continuing, right? Substrate and feed level or substrate level is maintained so that the substrate level and the product level are same in a tank. Now it is operated by 3 different methods: single stage fermentation, recycle continuous fermentation, and multi-stage continuous fermentation. In single stage fermentation, there is a single fermenter inoculated with nutrient medium and culture. Okay. And they are kept in continuous operation by balancing the input and output. Input of nutrient medium, output of harvested culture is to be maintained, and whole process is carried out in a single vessel. Recycle continuous fermentations, again we use a single vessel here, but a portion of the harvested medium is recycled back to the fermenter to ferment the unfermented broth. Okay. Further, many a times we recycle the fermented or harvested medium because it contains microorganisms which can speed up the process of fermentation and productivity is increased. Multiple stage continuous fermentations are those in which 2 or more fermenters are employed simultaneously and fermentation is operated or done in a sequence. Different phases of fermentation like growth phase and synthetic phase are carried out in different fermenter. Generally, Growth phase is allowed in first fermenter, and synthetic, that is production stage, is done in second and subsequent fermenters. When do we use multiple stage continuous fermentation? Particularly in those fermentations in which growth and synthetic activities of microorganisms are not simultaneous. Okay, synthesis is not growth related. Okay, growth of organism occurs first, or growth and multiplication occurs first, and when the growth has ceased down, reduced down, slowed down, then the production phase starts. Okay, so when growth and synthetic activities are not simultaneous, we use multiple stage continuous fermentation. So that is about two important type of fermenters, batch fermenter and continuous fermenter. Now let us discuss about the third type, that is airlift fermenter or airlift bioreactor. In case of airlift fermenter or airlift bioreactor, there is no agitator. Okay, the vessel is not provided with an agitator. As you can see from the diagram, there is no agitator. Okay, in airlift fermenter, the liquid culture or the liquid medium along with culture present in the vessel is divided into two interconnected zones. Okay, so whatever material, whatever broth and culture, okay, so nutrient medium plus culture is taken in the vessel, but the contents of the vessel are divided into two zones. The two zones are interconnected, right? So the contents of the vessel are divided into two interconnected zone by means of baffle wall or draft tube. Okay, draft tube is a tube which is kept inside the vessel, which is open from both ends. Only one of the two zones is sparged. That means if you place a tube inside the vessel, then there will be two zones. One zone which is the medium that is present inside the tube, draft tube, and the medium which is present outside the draft tube. So these are two zones. Out of the two, that is inside of the draft tube or outside, only one of the zone is sparged. Sparged means what? Introduction of air into the vessel with the help of a sparger. Okay, so we have to pass air only in one of the zones, either inside the draft tube or outside. Okay, out of the two zone, one zone is sparged with air or other gas, and this sparged zone is known as riser. The other zone that did not receive any gas, that doesn't receive any gas or air, is called as a downcomer. Okay, the zone which receives the gas is a riser. The zone which does not receive a gas is the downcomer. The density of the gas liquid dispersion in gas sparged riser tends to be lower, and the bulk density in the downcomer is consequently. The dispersion flows up in the riser zone and down flows in the downcomer zone. Okay, see, I will show you here how it happens. Suppose this is the fermentation vessel. Okay, now air is introduced inside through an air sparger, right? So let us consider that this is a vessel, fermentation vessel, right? There is a sparger. Through the sparger, air enters inside. Okay, from here sterile air is allowed to enter inside. In this vessel, there are two zones. The vessel is filled with the nutrient medium and microorganisms are inoculated. The vessel is divided into two zones. This is a draft tube. This is a draft tube. Okay? Sometimes the vessel is not provided with a draft tube. There is single wall which is called as baffle wall. Now as you can see in the diagram, the air is entering inside the draft tube. Okay, so this is outer zone, and inside the tube there is inner zone. So inner zone, inside the inner zone, air is entering inside. Okay, so the point, the zone in which air is allowed to enter or air is sparged is called as a riser. Why it is called as a riser? Because air will rise here. The air bubbles will rise into this zone. So this is called as a riser. Right. Now the air, so you can see in this diagram, inside there is this is a draft tube. Okay. Now inside the draft tube we have introduced the air, or we have introduced the, right, like in this diagram also you can see air is entering inside the draft tube. So the draft tube is called as riser. So air rises from here and comes out into the outer zone. Okay, so air rises up from the draft tube and comes into the outer zone. So the draft tube is called as riser and the outside zone is called as downcomer. Okay, now when you allow the gas to enter, when the air is passed inside, the air lifts up the medium. That is why the name airlift fermenter. Okay, this vessel is not provided with any agitator because mixing is done by the air that lifts up the medium, and the medium rises up in the riser tube and comes down in the downcomer tube. So the medium rises because of air pressure. So the medium rises like this, that is in the riser tube, and it comes down in the outside zone, which is called as downcomer. And because of this continuous motion from up in the riser tube and down in the downcomer tube, the contents of the media are mixed. Okay, this is how mixing is done by riser and downcomer. There is a gas flow inlet present at the bottom of the fermenter which allows the passage of oxygen or gas. Gas flow inlet is attached with perforated disc or tube that allows continuous distribution of air. This type of bioreactor lacks mechanical stirring. That means agitation device is absent. From the name itself, it is clear that air lifts the medium upward. Okay, air lifts the medium upward in the riser and the medium comes down along with air in the downcomer. In this way, the internal liquid circulation channels, okay, there are internal liquid circulation channels which enable continuous circulatory motion of the medium, and the media contents are mixed and it occurs at a fixed rate of volume and circulation. Okay, so there is no air sparger, right? There is no agitation device, only air sparger is present, and mixing of medium and all media components occur because of air. So the name air lift. What are the advantages? Adequate mixing, less energy consumption because there is no agitator, so no electricity is required. It favors the growth of aerobic microorganism because air sparging is done. The construction of the device is very simple. Okay, we can use it for immobilized cells, free cells as well as immobilized cells and enzymes. It is widely used in single cell protein production, and excessive heat generation does not take place because we are not rigorously agitating. Okay, the only disadvantage is that there is no agitation. Okay, so that is all about airlift fermenter. The rest of the types we will discuss in next.